good afternoon. I'm Dr. Adrienne King, and I am the Associate Vice President for Marketing and Communications here at the University of Toledo. I'll also be serving as the facilitator for today's Countdown to Launch discussion. As we've discussed over the past couple weeks, we've talked all about how the University of Toledo is preparing to welcome our students back to campus in just a few weeks. We're all excited to have our students return to campus. We've covered a lot of topics in the last couple weeks, all of which have been archived on the Rocket Restart website. I want to again remind folks that if you haven't visited the Rocket Restart website, you can access it from the university's main homepage, utoledo.edu. We encourage you to be checking back as we're updating those pages with information is on an ongoing basis, sometimes multiple times a day. You'll be able to see what the new information is, and in many cases, we can answer your questions right there. We know that living on campus is a great way to make the University of Toledo feel like home. Your classes, campus resources, and dining halls are all within walking distance. Today, we're going to hear about the exciting plans and necessary precautions the university is taking to ensure that our students have a safe, healthy, and fun fall semester. If you have a question for our leaders today, please post them in the comments on YouTube or Facebook. We'll do our best to get through as many questions as we can today, and as we get new information, we will be adding it to the Rocket Restart homepage. Now let's get started. Today we have the pleasure of speaking with Valerie Walston. She is the Associate Vice President for Student Services and Director of Residence Life, and Janelle Craft, Regional Marketing Director for Chartwells, the University of Toledo's new dining vendor. Thank you both for joining us. Valerie, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about your background and your role here at the University of Toledo in helping students succeed.
Thank you, Adrienne. Well, I have a little over 24 years experience in the field of higher education. I've worked at 5 universities, and in all of my years, I have never experienced so much of an interesting time in working through a pandemic. So it's definitely a learning curve. I was a first generation college student, and so in my role as the Associate Vice President, I am very concerned about the success of our students. Student Affairs has a focus on the co-curricular experience or the outside of the classroom experience. So although that is our focus, we are also concerned about the academic success of our students. Several departments report to me on campus: Residence Life, Housing, the Student Union, the University Rec Center, and I also serve as the main campus planning operations chief for our incident command. Even though I know students and parents are so excited about coming to college, moving students in, certainly safety is a concern of yours just as it is a concern of mine. So one of the many roles that I have is making sure that the residence halls are as safe and prepared to receive students working through the pandemic. Students sometimes can be a little stressed, so of course mental and physical wellness are of very much concern for us here at the university and for myself. So last but not least, we definitely focus on a sense of belonging, helping students with their time management, and like I said, mental and physical well-being.
Great, thank you, Valerie. Janelle, the university recently announced our new partnership with Chartwells. Can you tell us a little bit about the exciting new dining offerings our students will see when they return to campus?
Yeah, thank you. So we are very excited to start this new partnership with the University of Toledo and can't wait to welcome students back this fall. And while things will look a little different than our normal program would, we do have some exciting new offerings coming to campus this fall. We will be introducing Ace Sushi plus Boba and Bowls, which is an Asian fusion concept serving fresh-made sushi, hot bowls, and dim sum. And the sushi will also be featured in our market convenience store locations for a quick grab and go option across campus. Another new concept is Wild Pie, which features pizza by the inch, not by the slice, fresh made with rotating features for added variety. All of the national brand favorites like Chick-fil-A, Starbucks, Steak and Shake, Subway, and Freshens will return this fall. And then we do have some coming soon locations for spring semester and beyond, and more information will be shared on our website for these exciting additions as plans are confirmed. I'm also pleased to share that we will be offering Boost mobile ordering, which will allow guests to place an order from their phone and then simply pick up and go, so guests can skip the line and have a contactless pickup option. We're also looking forward to launching a full line of wellness programming headed up by our dietitian, as well as a focus on sustainability, which are both very important to us. As well as you will see a strong culinary presence, chef-driven menus, and programming like teaching kitchens and highlights of our great team. Last but not least, I would like to mention that we are looking forward to partnering with student groups on events and programs, as well as gaining feedback on the overall program. And we do make adjustments based on your requests. This really is your dining program, so we absolutely love feedback, and we welcome it in a variety of ways via a dedicated text to chat line, through our mobile app, through our website, as well as focus group surveys and dining committee meetings. So feel free to reach out to us at any time. Our website will also be populated very soon, and you can access that through the UToledo website, and that is where you can always go for the latest and greatest on dining. Another great place to go is our Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook for updates. Our handle is @RocketDining, and we're just getting launched. So if you want to head over and give us a follow, that would be great. We will be posting updates and exciting news on what's coming there. So yeah, we're just really looking forward to launching Rocket Dining this fall and serving the UToledo campus community. Thank you.
Fantastic, Janelle. It sounds like we've got a lot of exciting things happening. All right, let's get started with the questions because we've got quite a few coming through. This first question, Valerie, is for you. This semester, I will be housed in Ottawa West, which was supposed to be a 4-person suite. Typically, students who are in suites are responsible for cleaning their own restrooms. With the new COVID-19 safety standards, are students still solely responsible for cleaning and sanitizing their bathrooms and common areas?
Thank you, Dr. King. So here's a good tip for students to remember. If the restroom is physically inside your room, yes, you are responsible for cleaning the bathroom. If you live in a residence hall where the bathroom is outside of your room, then our housekeeping and custodial team are responsible for cleaning and sanitizing the restroom and all common areas.
Perfect, thank you. Janelle, we talked a little bit about some of the exciting new things coming to the dining halls. What other changes are coming to the dining halls that students should expect to see, especially related to safety precautions?
Sure. So both the Student Union Dining and Ottawa East Dining Halls will feature a new culinary lineup of stations with all new menus and new graphics. Now, due to the current situation, service styles will be altered for the safety of our guests and our associates. We are following guidelines provided by the CDC and state and local resources, as well as working in partnership with the University of Toledo in the Restart Plan. So there will be no self-serve areas, and instead all items will be served by our associates or individually packaged. We will offer dine-in options where guests choose the items they want from the various stations, and then they'll be served on reusable plates. But in addition to that, we will offer some high-quality grab-and-go options due to limited capacity and for speed and convenience. The seating areas will be open, but at a 50% capacity. So all of our team members will be completing a wellness check at the beginning of their shift, including temperature checks and following the 6-question health check. All of our associates will be wearing masks at all times, and Plexi Shield barriers are being installed at all points of ordering or interaction. We will also have signage indicating traffic flow and where to stand to maintain the proper physical distancing. Our teams are busy undergoing numerous trainings, and those will continue so we can adapt as the situation continues to change. And we will continue to adhere to stringent hand washing, cleaning, sanitizing, and disinfecting standards. And we do have dedicated associates to focus on cleaning and ensuring that all high-touch areas are frequently sanitized. And then I did just want to say that through all of this, our focus will still remain on providing a quality dining experience. So value, variety, limited time offers, and unique programming will still be part of the program as well.
Fantastic, Janelle, thank you. It sounds like our students can expect to still have a great variety of food, but certainly we are going to be taking some additional precautions to make sure that, you know, the traditional buffet style that they're used to will change in order for us to be able to provide a healthy and safe environment. So thank you. Valerie, this next question is for you. Also about food, I enjoy cooking for myself when I can, Are there any limitations on shared kitchen spaces in the residence halls?
Lots of questions about food today, Andrea. So limitations, I would say be considerate. The residence halls kitchens are shared spaces, and so they too will be sanitized and cleaned regularly. So be considerate, clean up after yourselves. It is important that you monitor your food while you are cooking it. And if the smoke alarm goes off because you've burned something, turn your food off and exit the building. Brush up on your cooking skills before you get here.
Great advice, Valerie. All right, Janelle, this question is for you. You mentioned that there's going to be a new app that students can use to pre-order their food for grab and go. What is the name of that app and how can students find it?
Yeah, absolutely. So we actually have two dining apps that you're going to want to check out. The first one, which we're speaking about now, is called Boost Mobile Ordering. And this will allow you to order food from the majority of our dining locations and skip the lines. You'll just simply place your order, pay, and then come straight to the designated pickup area at the location that you ordered from, grab it, and be on your way. The other app is called Dine on Campus, and this houses a ton of dining information, including the menus for all of our locations, along with nutritional information, special offers, events, an interactive map of our campus, the locations, and a place to share feedback and more. So both of these apps can be downloaded from Google Play or the Apple App Store. And once you're in the app, you're simply going to want to search for the University of Toledo. Now, Boost is not live yet, but it will be soon. And we will also provide all this information on the website so you can easily download it from there.
Fantastic. While you're downloading apps, I'd like to make sure that I recommend for students and parents, the University of Toledo has the RAVE app. It's RAVE. This is a really important app for your students to have on their phone. It provides direct access to our campus police. It can also be used if they're walking on campus in the evenings. They can notify you or their roommate that they're leaving the library, and you can literally watch as your student walks safely on campus. It's great to be able to have this at your fingertips. I actually have it on my phone because I walk my dog on campus in the evenings, and I just find that it is a nice reassurance to know that I can get a hold of campus police if I ever need them. All right, Valerie, will freshmen living in dorms be able to park on campus, or will they be required to park at Scott Park?
Students living in the residence hall are first-year students, of course. For the first time in quite some time, we are welcoming you to park on main campus. This is huge. It's huge for our first-year students, and it will be quite convenient for our first-year residential students to be able to park on campus. No more shuttles to Scott Park.
Great, fantastic. As a follow-up, I'm getting some questions here again about parking. So as a reminder to folks, there are a variety of parking options available. So if you're living on campus, yes, you are going to want to buy a parking pass for the fall semester. You will be able to start purchasing those parking passes August 3rd for the fall semester. If you are commuting, and maybe you only have one or two on-campus courses, if you would prefer to pay either at the meter or by a guest spot by the day, those are also options. You can find all that information on the university's parking website. Valerie, are students allowed to have visitors in the residence halls?
Under normal circumstances, absolutely. But during our first semester, as we are monitoring who's coming in and out of the residence hall, we are limiting our visitation. And the reason we're doing that is just for safety reasons. We have to be very concerned about who is coming in and out of the residence halls. So just for our first semester, we will be limiting visitors to the residence hall spaces.
Great, thank you. Janelle, we've got a question here that's coming in about my student has allergies. How should they let dining services be aware of what allergies they might be dealing with and making sure that they are able to get food that is going to be safe for them?
Absolutely. So our team works very closely with the students to ensure that all students are able to find and enjoy the foods that they want. We do have a station called G8 in Ottawa East that is dedicated to serving dishes without the 8 major allergens, as well as for those avoiding gluten. And we work hard to build a lot of those offerings into our regular menu. However, we also definitely encourage students that that they reach out to our team and set up a meeting with our executive chef and our dietitian, we're just able to maybe point out some different offerings that, that might be overlooked. We're also able to work to build a plan specifically for them if needed. And we always do take special requests and work to bring in menu offerings. So the best way would really be to check out our website, and all of our staff information will be on there, so they can reach out directly to really any team member, but our director, our executive chef, or our dietitian. We will also have a dedicated page on allergens and special diets, and we'll have that contact information on there as well.
Fantastic, thank you. Valerie, I've got a question from a parent. My son has a history of asthma. He will start the fall semester as a freshman. Is there an opportunity to request a single room? And if so, will there be an additional fee?
Thank you, Dr. King. Absolutely, there is an opportunity to request a single room. In fact, we have increased our single room capacity than what we've had in the past. The fee for the upcharge in a single room, it depends on the building. It depends on the amenities that we have in that particular building. So the range for the upcharge for a single room could be anywhere from $600 to $800. And that is in addition to your regular residence hall fee.
Great, thank you. Valerie, here's a question. What can I do if my roommate isn't practicing safe behaviors? What advice do you have? I imagine this could even go beyond COVID-19.
That's a very good question, and I'm so glad somebody submitted that question. Well, first of all, if your roommate or anybody is exhibiting unsafe behavior, I would recommend that you have a conversation with that roommate, with that student. A conversation that includes carefrontation, being very careful. But say something to the student. If you do not see results or change behavior, I would mention something to my resident assistant or my RA on the floor, your student leader on the floor. And then from there, we have a graduate assistant and a hall director and a whole host of caring staff members in the residence hall who could help you mitigate the issue of your roommate not exhibiting safe behaviors.
Janelle, we've got some folks who seem very disappointed about the fact that there will not be buffet style service this fall because of the COVID precautions in place. Talk to us though about what kind of options students can expect, because it sounds like Chartwells has a plan to make sure that students still have lots of options when they come into the dining halls.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, so we are designing our menus to make sure that you're still getting that same variety and even the same kind of menu offerings that you're probably familiar with in the past that was available when buffet was there. The difference really is that instead of you serving yourselves, our team will be there to serve that food to you. We will still have a variety of stations, a variety of menu offerings, including the favorites like pizza, grilled items, home style options, as well as some new highlights and fresh salads. Everything will still be fresh made daily. So it'll be the same quality program. It'll just be served to you in a little bit of a different format. And then in addition, we will offer some to-go and some grab-and-go options. But again, these will still be very high-quality items, and we will get some information on what those are and what those look like out on our website, so you can check them out. But they really are still very substantial in what you would have received during normal times.
Great, thank you. Yeah, and if I can give some advice to the incoming students, take advantage of your meal plan. Making sure that you're eating healthy, sleeping, taking care of yourself is really important when you're in college. So we encourage you to use your meal plan. This is a great way to get access to fresh food. We've had some questions coming through about the recent changes to the dining plans. And so I want to give some background here for folks as to the reason the university made these changes. And this actually happened, this decision happened last spring. It was after several months of working with the Student Government Association. The Student Government Association provided input on behalf of the students, and we essentially made two big changes that students need to be aware of. One, we reduced the number of meal plans and simplified the offerings. Student government actually voted on those meal plans and approved that plan before it went to the Board of Trustees, where it was approved last spring. We've also eliminated Rocket Dollars. So Rocket Dollars used to be able to be used within the community, but what we heard from our students was they really didn't want or weren't able to use the Rocket Dollars, and what they wanted was the flexibility and convenience of the dining dollars here on campus. And so moving forward with this fall, we will have dining dollars that give you added flexibility. Janelle, can you talk to us a little bit about how those dining dollars might work, and if a parent wanted to add dining dollars to their student's account, how might they do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So dining dollars are built into the plans, and those are for use at all of our on-campus dining locations. Works very similar to a debit card. You would just come up, use your student ID card for that purchase, and that amount would be deducted from your total. Now, if you would like to add additional dollars, we have what's called Dining Dollars Plus, and you can add those at any time and in any amount. And the process is really simple. You would just sign into your Rocket Card profile, and you would select Add Money on the upper left side. Then you would choose Dining Dollars Plus for your deposit type, enter the amount that you want to add, and then put in your payment details, and you would be ready to go. So again, all of that information will be on the website, and you can click directly on the link to access that to add your dollars, and then you can use them at any dining location.
Fantastic, thank you. Valerie, we're getting some questions here from parents and students who are starting to make plans to move on campus. And if they're coming from out of state, their question is, should they or will they need to quarantine once they come to campus?
It depends, Adrian. It depends on what states they're coming from. For all of our hotbed states, once they arrive on campus, we are requiring that they quarantine. And again, it's just for safety measures. And so this information was widely, publicized, and our administration made the decision that in order to practice the safest way, then it would be wise for us to quarantine those students who are living in some of those hotbed states.
Correct, yeah, and that actually came in conjunction with the Ohio governor's travel advisory that was issued last week for states that have a 15% or higher COVID cases. And so we're just making sure that we don't have, it's a precautionary measure to make sure we don't spread on campus. All right, Valerie, are parents allowed to visit their students if they're in quarantine or they're isolating?
When a student is in quarantine or isolation, of course, the purpose of isolation is for them to not, harm anyone else. So if a parent comes, certainly we can get information to that student. They can drop off items for that student. But really, if a parent comes, it would be best for the student to isolate or quarantine at home. So as far as, are we allowing parents in and out of the residence hall if a student is in isolation? No, that defeats the purpose. But if a parent needs to get some information or just some resources to that student, certainly we can make sure that the student does receive it.
Great. A follow-up to that, Valerie, where will sick or symptomatic students isolate on campus?
Very good question. So Jason Toth and his team, Maggie Garcia, they are working really hard to bring Carter Hall up to speed, because Carter Hall will be the home for our sick students. So one side of Carter Hall will be for our COVID positive students, and the other side of Carter Hall will be home for our students who are exposed.
Great, thank you. And Janelle, this question following on that is, if a student is sick or symptomatic, maybe they are isolating, how will they get access to food? I guess that could be you or Valerie.
Yes, we have developed a very good plan, and the plan protects the student, and it also protects our new friends and colleagues at Chartwells. So we have decided that food drop-off will be in a common space. The Chartwells employee will deliver the food to the common space, and the student will not be in that space. After the food is dropped, a phone call will be made to that student once the Chartwells employee has left the space, so that the student can then come and retrieve the food. So then students who are in isolations, they get the food that they need, and everybody is safe, including our employees.
Great, thank you. Valerie, we've just got more and more questions coming in. Now we want to know, will the rec center be open this fall? And what kind of cleaning procedures are they going to be doing to prevent the spread of the virus?
Very, very good question. So our custodial team has really implemented a campus-wide sanitation and cleaning regiment. And of course, that includes our rec center and other spaces on campus. So they have just really ramped up the frequency with which those spaces will be cleaned. Also, there's a heightened level of student responsibility. So there's always been signage. If you use a machine, wipe it down when you leave. Well, now that's going to be monitored just a little more closely. So yes, the rec will be open. But the bad news is, those of you who know me, you know I'm a Zumba addict. There will be no Zumba and no group fitness classes in the recreation center. So although you can come in and work out, there will be no group fitness classes.
Great, thank you. Janelle, we've got a student who wants to know, what kind of vegetarian options can we expect to see this fall in the dining centers?
Yeah, absolutely. So our chefs, our team focuses really a lot on plant-forward menuing based on today's trends and really what students are looking for to fuel their body. We actually have a whole program focused on functional foods. So things that are clean eats, are protein packed, heart health, all of those kind of items as well. But to answer your question specifically about vegan and vegetarian items, we do have that built into our regular menu, and we do have dedicated spaces on campus. We have signage that will easily call out where those items are, so they're easy to locate, as well as you'll be able to find that on our app and on our website within the menus. And again, as I mentioned, we do always take requests and we'll always work to add additional options into the menu. But we do make sure that we're offering full items, full entree options, as well as just, the typical sides. But there is an abundance of vegetarian offerings throughout the space.
Great, thank you. So we've got a couple of questions here about what would happen if the coronavirus were to become an outbreak scenario on campus. And so certainly the university, while we were planning for a variety of scenarios, the last thing we want to do is interrupt the fall semester. But Valerie, in the event that the university determines that the safest thing for our campus community is to close down campus mid-semester and we send students home, will students receive a housing and dining refund?
Absolutely, Dr. King. What we would do, we would work with our friends and colleagues in the Treasury office, and together we would come up with a fair and consistent refund for parents and students. Certainly this is not the direction that we want to go in, but I am encouraging parents and students and all of our campus community to just be flexible. We don't know what is going to happen. This virus is very unpredictable, so we're just asking people to be flexible and just know that we will make the best decisions as it relates to closing or remaining open the residence halls or even on campus.
Yeah, really, as a university, as you've heard of the last several weeks, one of our top priorities is promoting a safe and healthy return to campus. We do believe that students do better. The research proves that students thrive in an on-campus setting, and so we're doing everything in our power to plan for that and intend to offer that. But of course, because of the uncertainty, we also have a number of contingency plans going, and we will, just as we have all summer, continue to communicate openly with students and parents as we're making these decisions. And next week's Countdown to Launch is actually going to be a conversation with the new interim president, Dr. Gregory Postel, who Dr. Postel will be able to answer your questions, and I think that'll give you even a better idea as to what some of the contingency plans are that the university has in place. We're getting some questions here, Janelle, from students and parents who wonder about using the Boost app to order ahead, and how does that work with their meal swipes?
So the way it would work is you could pay with credit card or you could pay with dining dollars. We are working on getting it also set up to where you could use a meal exchange. But as we first go live, you'll be able to use your dining dollars as well as you could pay with a credit card.
Great. Valerie, this is a very important question. How will my student pay for laundry services in the residence halls?
So there is a swipe in the laundry room for students to pay in the residence halls, but we are definitely working toward the laundry fee to be built into the housing and residence hall fee. So laundry fees are not going to be a concern for students this year.
Great, so there is no excuse to not have clean laundry.
That's right. That's right.
All right. Janelle, what would happen if a Chartwells staff member tested positive for the virus? Would Chartwells close down the entire dining facility? What is their protocol for a scenario like that?
Yes, so if that were to happen, our standard approach would be to temporarily shut down that specific location. That associate and anyone who may have come in contact would be sent home and tested, and they wouldn't return to work until they were cleared by a doctor. That would give us the time to come in and properly clean and sanitize, and then at that point we would reopen that location. We do practice physical distancing in the back of the house as well, and with our team to minimize that exposure, but we would need the time to properly clean and sanitize and then reopen. And if that situation were to arise, we would work closely with the University of Toledo to communicate that out and take the proper steps.
Great, thank you. We've got a question, Valerie, from a parent. She says, I received instructions on move-in, but I'm looking for additional details. We received the date, time info, but I thought there was supposed to be an additional email sent out last week that detailed parking, traffic, check-in procedures, etc.
What a great question. So on the June 12th email, there is a very detailed explanation about parking, traffic, how we're going to check in, how we're going to support a low-touch, no-touch check-in process for the residence hall. And the wonderful folks on the housing team created a video to detail some of the information of our low-touch, no-touch residential check-in.
The University of Toledo will be implementing a new move-in process in order to encourage social distancing and promote the safety of our students, families, and staff. First, please be prepared that you will be required to wear a mask during the move-in process. We will be sanitizing move-in equipment between uses, and hand sanitizer will be available. We are asking our students to move in their belongings before officially moving in on campus. This means setting up your room, departing campus, and returning for Rocket Welcome Weekend. A move-in date and time will be assigned to you. Your date and time will be sent to your Rocket email. If you live within 50 miles of campus, you will be assigned a time between August 2nd and August 9th. If you are coming from further away, you will be assigned a time on or after August 10th. If you are arriving on or after August 10th, you can stay on campus, but will be encouraged to return home and come back Thursday, August 13th. This will minimize the amount of people in the building at a time during move-in. At move-in, you will be directed to Rocket Hall. There will be plenty of signage, so you can't miss it. Please arrive to campus approximately 30 minutes prior to your move-in time so that our staff can properly check you in before you head to your residence hall. Once outside Rocket Hall, you will be greeted by a staff member. Have your Rocket number ready. They will use that to provide you your keys, information packet, a highlighted map with your building location, the holding lot where you'll wait until it is your check-in time, and the lot where you can park your car after you have unloaded your items. Families will wait in the holding lot until there is room for their vehicle to pull up and unload in front of each building. Once you are at your building, staff will assist you with your move-in. You are allowed 2 guests to help move items into your room. After transferring items to your room, only 1 guest is allowed to help unpack. Additional guests are able to wait in their vehicles or outside while you're setting up your new space. During move-in, there will be an adjusted traffic flow in your building to limit the number of people in one space. Each stairwell will be one direction only, a stairwell up and a stairwell down in each building. Elevators may be used one family at a time. One elevator will be used to take items from the lobby to your residential floor. When not transporting items, the other elevator and stairs will be available for you to come back down. There will be staff eager to help throughout this entire process to assist in keeping everything sanitary, efficient, and address any questions or concerns you may have.
Now that we've told you how move-in will work, Janelle, we want to know, what day will the dining halls open?
Absolutely. So we actually have 4 locations opening on August 8th, which are Steak and Shake, Subway, Starbucks, and the Market and the Student Union. Now, the 2 dining halls, those will open on August 13th for dinner, and then we'll be serving brunch and dinner on the 14th, 15th, and 16th with limited hours. And then we will be open with our regular hours beginning the 17th.
Great.
And we will post all of those on the website.
Great, thanks, Janelle. And as a reminder to our students and parents, classes for the fall are actually going to start on Monday, August 17th. That is a week earlier than we had originally planned. We communicated that back in June when that decision was made, but dining will be open, fully open the same time that classes start. Valerie, this question is for you. I applied for a housing waiver and it was denied. Is there an appeals process?
Thank you for that question. Yes, there is an appeal process. And the appeals process begins with a scheduled meeting with our Director of Housing. So the appeal process, the exemption process starts with just submitting an application online. What we have found is we find more in-depth information once we meet with those students one-on-one who are requesting an appeal. And of course, those meetings will be via Zoom. If after the meeting with the Director of Housing does not yield a good conclusion, then what we would do is the Director of Housing sends those requests up to my office. And so I work with the students and parents. Sometimes I consult with the VP of Student Affairs. We do everything that we possibly can to ensure that our appeal responses are fair and consistent.
Great, thanks, Valerie. We've got questions here specifically about the rec center. Can you tell us, will the pool be open this fall?
So we are still having conversations about how we will manage operations in the pool area. If the pool is open, definitely it will be on the limited basis, possibly just for laps. I will have to get more information about that from our awesome Director of Recreational Services, Damon Pryor. I'm sure there is a plan for the pool and we'll let you know. But I do know that the slide will not be open.
All right, well, we'll have to wait till spring semester to enjoy that. I would note that you can access the rec center's information off of the Rocket Restart website. So if you're looking for specific information about the hours they'll be open or different areas like the pool, once those decisions are made, our rec center staff are updating that page, so you can access that there on the Rocket Restart page. I've also had several questions come in about which states are included in the quarantine discussion that we had earlier this week. I would once again refer you back to the Rocket Restart page. Currently, in the state of Ohio, the governor has given a travel advisory for all states that have a COVID infection rate of 15% or higher. And so you can see which states are included in that. If a student was, if we know that a student was planning to live on campus, Valerie, we've actually already been reaching out to those students to let them know that they're going to need to quarantine, correct?
Absolutely, via email. We've made some phone calls just to let them know that there's a 14-day quarantine before they're allowed on campus.
Okay, Valerie, can you tell us, is the university responsible for cleaning McComas Village?
Yes, certain areas in McComas Village. The university is not responsible for cleaning student rooms in McComas Village, but definitely the common areas in the village. Yes, the university is responsible for that.
Valerie, talk to us about the number of residents we're going to have in any given space. I know in the past the university has had singles, doubles, triples, even quads in our living and residential areas. We've made some changes to that this year to make sure that we provided for social distancing. Can you tell us about that?
Absolutely. So we have eliminated all quads on campus and have moved toward eliminating, I would say, 90% of triples on campus. Our goal is to have most of our campus serve double occupancy or single occupancy. We have increased our number of single rooms by 200 spaces. So again, no quads on campus, 90% of triples eliminated, Most of our spaces on campus are double occupancy and single occupancy.
Great, thank you. Janelle, we've got some students who are interested in on-campus employment. Will there be options to work with Chartwells in any of our on-campus dining facilities?
Absolutely. We would love that and welcome that. So we will again post that information on our website of how to, what's available and where to apply, but they can do that through Handshake as well. And we would love that and be super excited to have some students on the team.
Great, thank you. We look forward to having you apply. Valerie, we've got a parent who is asking if their student contracts COVID and is asked to isolate, who will be communicating with the parent? Is there an advocate on campus that will be communicating how their child is doing and providing updates to the parent?
First and foremost, we will be communicating with the student. If the student signs a FERPA waiver, then certainly we can have some conversations with the parent. If the parent has any questions, we would want the student and the parent to be present, whether it's during a conference call to discuss any, really not only just isolation information, but really any information about the student. So we can talk to parents only if we have a FERPA waiver signed, and of course that gives the student, that gives us permission to talk to parents. And I would be remiss if I didn't say something else. The residence hall's front desk and the rec center are also fantastic employers. We have so many students on campus employed in those areas. So I'm not competing with Chartwells. I would never do that. But just know that there are wonderful other employment opportunities on campus, and the rec center and residence life are the top employers on campus as far as numbers. So lots of students work in those areas, and we welcome your application.
Fantastic. It sounds like we've got lots of opportunities for students. If you're looking for a job this fall, make sure that you check out Handshake. You do have to be registered for your fall classes, but then you can find that information on My UT or reach out to our career services office. They're great. They'll help connect you. Working on campus is a great way to earn some extra cash, but also stay engaged with campus, and you'll find that maybe your supervisor will turn out to be more than just your boss. Mm-hmm. They're also a great mentor. All right, Janelle, we've got a question from a parent who's asking, what's the difference between dining dollars and meal exchanges?
Sure. So all of the plans come with meal exchange options and with dining dollars. So the difference is that, well, let me back up. They also come with meal swipes. So meal swipes are what you would use in the 2 all you care to eat dining hall locations. So you would swipe your meal, go in and eat whatever you would like. The meal exchange is where you exchange one of those meal swipes for an option, a set meal that's determined at specific locations across campus and in our retail spaces. And those locations and those items will also be posted on our website. So a meal exchange is really swapping out one of your meal swipes for a meal in a retail location on campus. And then the dining dollars work much like a debit card. You just dollar for dollar. So if you went to Chick-fil-A and bought, the number 1 combo meal, the amount that would be deducted would be that full dollar amount.
Great, thank you. Valerie, we've got some clarification questions on how we're defining quad. So we've got a parent who says their student is in a quad room in the Honors Academic Village. Will they still be in a quad setup, or will those be doubles?
So I was speaking to you about housing on campus and not Honors Academic Village. So I wouldn't want to misspeak. I would have to speak with the director over in Honors Academic Village to get clarification. Adrian, if you would make note of that question so we can respond back accordingly to that parent.
Perfect, thank you. So yeah, we'll get back in touch with you. We also have a question on here. We know that there have been some universities in Ohio who have announced that they're going to start the fall semester online. At this point, the University of Toledo is still planning to start fall. We will be starting early, as we talked about earlier, on August 17th, but we are still planning to have on-campus, welcome students back on campus. We will be having face-to-face classes as well as remote online and hybrid courses. But at this point, the university's plans have not changed. We, of course, monitor the cases within Lucas County and the state of Ohio, and we're in constant contact with our local and state health professionals. And we will keep you posted if that would change. But at this time, we still feel comfortable with the fact that we will be able to welcome students back on August 17th. Okay, let's see. We've got a parent whose student has changed their mind potentially about whether or not they're going to come to campus in the fall or if they wanted to wait to the spring. In the event that they decided to wait for the spring, Valerie, how would they go about reserving their housing application so that they could make sure that their student could live on campus in the spring?
We would just ask that student to communicate that information to our housing office. We are glad to reserve student space in the spring. Certainly, we do understand if students and parents are oscillating regarding the fall semester. Of course, we want you here in the fall, but if you do want to ensure that you have a space in the spring, please contact the housing office, let us know, and we will be sure to have your space reserved for you, and we'll see you in the spring.
Great, thank you. Valerie, if a student needs to or wants to make changes to their suite mate or their roommate situation, who do they contact?
Our Director of Housing Services, Brad Menard, he has just been so patient, so wonderful and efficient. As you could imagine, we have lots of requests for roommate changes, so he is the person who is the contact as far as roommate requests for changing roommates.
Great, thank you. I see a lot of questions on here about who to contact in the event that you or your child, your student, believe you might have contracted COVID-19. If you go onto the Rocket Restart website, it's really important. We're trying to simplify this for our students so that they know exactly they can contact one person and that one individual will be their advocate and helping make sure that they have their housing, dining, any notifications that need to be made to make sure that they can keep up in their classes. They can contact the Office of Student Advocacy and Support, and that office will help make sure that they get assigned an advocate who will help care for them. I also want to go back to Valerie's point and remind parents that it's very important. University cannot speak with you or contact you about your students if they have not taken care of the FERPA paperwork. That's really important. They are considered independent when they are students here at the University of Toledo, and so you need to have those conversations with your student before they arrive on campus and make sure that they get that paperwork taken care of. We've got a question from a student. Valerie, I know we are doing move-in, we're scattering move-in dates and times. What happens if somebody is not going to be able to come during their registered time?
So we have, of course, we scheduled move-in with respect to social distancing. And so we have spaced out move-in for close to 3 weeks. It's about 2.5 weeks. So if a student cannot make their scheduled move-in time, although we want you to try really hard to make your scheduled move-in time, we have received several requests to change their move-in time, to come in earlier or later, and we are working very diligently to help those students change their time so that it's more conducive to their schedule.
Great, thank you. But people should be reaching out to the housing office
Yes.
if they're not going to be able to make their appointment.
Yes.
Valerie, how is President's Hall working with 6 students sharing a living room and a bathroom? Are those rooms going to be, are we considering altering those, or what advice do you have for keeping that common space clean and disinfected?
So definitely, we are working really hard to make sure that we educate students about, how to keep those spaces clean. RAs will be working with those students. Again, and I stated this earlier, we have decreased the amount of students who are in one particular space. We have something called the roommate agreement, which is really a contract for living. And so we talk about this information with students very early on. And when I say we, I mean the resident assistant. So you have conversations, there's a cleaning contract, there's a living contract for how students will dwell in a particular space in harmony, basically. So we do require that students complete that cleaning contract and the living contract.
Great, thank you. We've got a question here about adding or dropping courses. And so I will go back and address this. We talked about this in a previous Countdown to Launch discussion. In the event that a student needs to make changes to their academic schedule, they should contact their academic advisor, and if they're not sure who that is, reach out to their student success coach. Make sure you're having a conversation with an individual who can make sure that you're going to stay on track for graduation. The last thing we want you to do is make a change to your schedule and that's going to ultimately cost you in the long run. So make sure you're talking to your academic advisor about what options there are. And certainly you can still make changes to your schedule. We just encourage you to have that conversation. Valerie, I'm hoping you can help me out on this one. This mother says, my son's student ID was supposed to be mailed to him, but he has not yet received it. What should he do to get this? Who should he contact?
Rocket Solutions Central, they have an, of course, website, email set up. So even if you call the office and you're not able to get anyone, that student and parent should be able to contact the Rocket Card office.
Great, thank you. Here's a good question, Valerie. You work with a lot of different students on campus. This student is asking, what advice do you have for students who might be living with different individuals from different backgrounds or different ethnic groups? What advice do you have for them? How can they maximize this as an opportunity to, get to know the global world and know more about these individuals from all over?
Well, first thing I would say is I would encourage students to be open to forging new relationships. The individuals that you meet when you come to college, most of the time they're going to be your friends for life. So regardless of their socioeconomic background, the color of their skin, their religious affiliations, I would just encourage students to be open to building relationships with people who don't look like them. And I would be remiss if I did not make this comment. We do not make residence hall room assignments or roommate assignments based on race. There is a questionnaire that we send out, and what we do is we match students according to their compatibility. We do not consider race, religion, or any of those things. And we are a university who supports diversity, inclusivity, and also educating others about different ethnic backgrounds and really celebrating everybody's culture. So again, my advice would be open and build relationships with individuals who are very different from you. You might just meet your very best friend.
Great advice, Valerie. Yeah, I can remember my roommate as a freshman in college. We are still friends to this day. And so, yeah, you really do meet. These are going to be the best 4 years of your life. And so we encourage you to be open to meeting new people, lots of new people, learning new things. This is going to be a really great experience. Valerie, can a sophomore still apply for a waiver to live off campus?
Absolutely, the sophomore can apply, but it would depend on their particular reason for the waiver as to whether that waiver would be approved or denied.
Great. As I've got a couple questions on here asking again about student employment opportunities. So both Janelle and Valerie have shared some great information about on-campus student employment opportunities. You should, if your student is looking for an on-campus job, make sure that they check out Handshake. They can get to this through MyUT. They do have to be registered for the fall semester in order to access it. If they have any trouble whatsoever, they can contact our career services office. Those folks will be happy to help them find a job on campus. It's a really great way for them to earn some extra cash, but also become engaged with the campus community. Let's see. So we've got a question from a parent. All of my son's classes are online. How safe is it for him to go to the cafe, the gym, get a job, etc., if he's not going to class?
So there have been countless plans and scenarios that we've worked tirelessly on to ensure that we have the safest campus environment. So the son has classes online. Let's take the dining hall. So Chartwells, our new partners, they have already reached out to us and requested additional space in one of our facilities so that students can still dine in the dining facility with respect to social distancing. In the rec center, there have been specific equipment, placed in the rec center, for instance, sneeze guards, plexiglass. There's signage all over to encourage students to govern themselves in the safest way possible. So I would say, even a student who chooses online classes, we have to work really hard to encourage all students to still take part in the fabric of our wonderful university.
Yeah, I echo that, and I would also encourage you to go back and check out the Countdown to Launch discussion that we had about academic success with Provost Bjorkman, because she did a great job of explaining the differences and the different types of teaching modalities we're going to be using this fall, and the rationale between and how they made those determinations. Certainly, a class with 50 individuals in it, we've got to check and make sure that the classroom is going to provide for the necessary social distancing. There's a number of factors that have been in place, and our pandemic planning committees have been working all summer, tirelessly working to make sure that we're making the best decisions in every scenario. So while we welcome and look forward to resuming operations, we know that this is going to be a new normal. So we encourage you to go back, check out that Countdown to Launch recording, and I think you'll get a lot of information from Provost Bjorkman about how and why certain academic courses were assigned the way they are. Well, we're wrapping up. We are almost out of time. I want to end by asking both Janelle and Valerie, this is one of my favorite questions. Students are coming on campus for the fall semester. What's the one tip that you can give them, that you want to share with them to make sure they have a successful fall semester?
I'll let Janelle go first.
Janelle?
Thank you. Yeah, I would say to be sure to reach out to our team. We really have an open door policy. We love the feedback. We love getting to know the students. So don't hesitate to reach out to us if you have a question or a concern, or just that there's something you want to see. We are definitely here, and we welcome that. And so that would be my advice.
Great, thank you. Valerie?
So a couple things. Embrace every opportunity that is provided for you on campus, from doing the very best you possibly can in your classrooms. Build that relationship with your professor. Any leadership opportunities that are made available to you, I think you should take advantage of those. But at the same time, you need to respect the fact that there has to be balance. There has to be balance between your leadership skills and kind of co-curricular things that you do outside the classroom, and make sure that your focus is also academic success. So embrace our campus, become fully immersed, do well academically, build a relationship with your professors and any staff and mentors that are on campus, because we all want you to do your absolutely best as you're coming to campus to become a Rocket.
Great, thank you. Yeah, I want to wrap up by reminding folks, be sure you're checking back to the Rocket Restart webpage. We are going to continue to be making updates there. We'll also be providing links to some of the resources that Janelle shared from Chartwells as those become available. And I know we've got additional information in the days to come as you're preparing to come to campus. Be checking back to that website, bookmark it. It's going to be a great resource for you in the coming weeks. We will be back here next Wednesday at 2 o'clock. We're going to have an extra special guest, the University of Toledo's new interim president, Dr. Postal, who has a medical education himself and is also a fantastic higher education administrator. So he has been very integral in coming in with the Rocket Restart plan, jumping in and helping plan for your students' return in the fall. So we look forward to sitting down and having a conversation with him. So I encourage you to tune in at 2 o'clock. We'll be talking all things about the University of Toledo and getting to know him a little bit better. Until next week, have a great day.